Hello, I'm Maura Carley, founder and president of Healthcare Navigation, and today we are continuing our many conversations about Medicare, and today's is very important. We're going to talk about the initial coverage period for people turning 65, which is when the vast majority of Americans do transition to Medicare. And before we get into the details, I want to sound very severe, because Medicare enrollment rules are strict and punitive, and people who think this can be like dealing with the nice people in HR who are tolerant if you are late in returning materials to them. Those are people who get themselves in trouble. Not that the people in Social Security aren't nice, but they are there to follow rules. And the initial enrollment period is 7 months long. It's 3 months before the month of your birthday, the month of your birthday, and 3 months after the month of your birthday. If you want your Medicare to be in place as soon as you are eligible, you should get this process started as soon as your initial enrollment period begins. For many, many years, Medicare numbers were your social and a suffix on the end. And for privacy reasons, that was changed several years ago so that it is a randomly generated number. But you want that number, and Social Security generates that number. If you're getting Social Security prior to age 65, you'll just be sent your Medicare card. You're auto-enrolled, you get your Medicare card enrolling you in A and B. If you want A and B when you're first eligible and you're not taking Social Security, then you need to enroll in Medicare A and B. The easiest way to do that, in my opinion, is to use the online process, which you do from ssa.gov, and anyone who's been a worker and paid into the system and is eligible for Medicare, premium free Medicare Part A on their own work record can use the online process. You need to have created a username and password for your My Social Security account, which you also do from the ssa.gov website, just a different place on that website. People who are eligible for Medicare through a spouse or former spouse still need to call Social Security and make an appointment to get their Medicare number. So again, do it early on. It's not that things go wrong very often, but you want time in case something does go wrong. So what we've discussed before is that when you're transitioning onto Medicare, you have other decisions you're making. It used to be that people could make in-person appointments with Social Security to enroll in Medicare Part A and B, but for the time being, due to the pandemic, Social Security is making telephone appointments for that purpose. So just know that, and know that it might change, and it could change soon. We just don't know yet. I'd like to take a moment and encourage anyone who is planning the transition to Medicare soon to look at some of the resources on our website. They provide so much more detailed information than a short video can. And I'm also always concerned about the people in special circumstances. For example, most people who continue to work beyond age 65 go on Medicare Part B during what's called a special enrollment process. That will be our next video probably. But if you're planning to retire around your 65th birthday, but not when you're first eligible at age 65, you have to be very careful, because you can't use that special enrollment process. That's just a government rule. And yet your initial enrollment period is only the 7 months, and if you enroll during the month of your birthday or any of the subsequent months, your Part B effective date keeps getting pushed out. So those people have to plan very carefully. And then, of course, there are the people who continue to work beyond age 65, but for employers of under 20. There is clear federal legislation that requires employers of 20 or more people to offer the same benefits to the 65 and over people as the 65 and under people. But when the group is under 20, the state is usually dictating how that works. And most people do have to transition to Medicare A and B, and their group is either secondary or they transition to, off the group and get regular Medicare products. But, you've got a state like Connecticut, and there may be others for all I know, that has legislation which protects all people, those working for small employers of under 20 and requiring that the employer has to offer the same benefits to them. And then you have other states where the plan has had the latitude to decide what to require people to do. And yet we've seen plans change their practices and abruptly decide that people who didn't have to enroll in Part B now do. So you have to be very careful in those circumstances. So you have your Medicare number. That's good. That means you're enrolled in either A and B or perhaps just A. But if you are moving forward to transition to Medicare, then as we've discussed before, you've got to make the decision, am I staying in original Medicare with a supplement and a Part D plan, or am I going to an Advantage plan? I mean, there are other options, but those are the primary ones. For those enrollments, you have to know where to enroll. So again, a Medicare supplement is a private insurance product. You always apply to the insurance company. You might use a broker, but that's through an individual insurance company. Medicare Part D, you apply directly to the plan, or you can use Medicare.gov. And with an Advantage plan, the same. You apply directly to the plan, or you can use Medicare.gov. And of course, you can always rely on a broker if that is your preference. So let's talk about Cobra. If you are on Cobra when you turn 65, in my opinion, you should transition to Medicare. And I don't care what other advice you've been given, that advice is usually incorrect. The fact is that Cobra and Medicare don't mix well. In the insurance world, Cobra is considered secondary to Medicare. So you are actually supposed to be on Medicare A and B before electing Cobra, because Cobra is supposed to be a secondary source of coverage. And that rarely makes sense because Cobra is costly. But the other reason, I hope it's obvious because we're talking about how strict Medicare enrollment rules are, is people who go on Cobra, even if they don't have a claims problem associated with this issue of not being on Part B and relying on Cobra when it's technically supposed to be a secondary source of coverage after Part B pays, those people, God bless that they don't have claims problems, but they often miss their Medicare enrollment windows and then resort to the general enrollment period, which we will discuss in greater depth. But the important thing to remember is that's not how you want to get onto Medicare, because it's designed to be punitive. So thanks for listening today to this long video about the initial enrollment period, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.